Today's video is going to be about solar electric and my PV system, photovoltaic system. I have no idea how to pronounce that word. But anyway, there's 4 solar panels on our roof. And over on the side of the house, there's, you can only see a corner of them from here, but there's 2 more solar panels. I came for a better angle on the solar panels that are on the ground. Sometime I'll tell you the story of why I decided I needed some solar panels on the ground, but these look like I need to cut weeds around them. That's going to be probably one of the factors to make the solar system work better. It has completely stopped working. Alright, I'm under my house now in the crawl space. It's probably about 2.5 feet of clearance. Anyway, this is our charge controller. It's not reading anything because the battery voltage is too low. There's the charge controller for the ones on the ground. This one's for the ones on the roof. Then our battery bank is back there, the Duracells. I have this Honda battery, which I put in temporarily so our water pump still works, but it's just the old battery out of our Honda car. But these batteries, last time I checked them, they are rated at less than 2 volts, 1.8 or 1.9 volts. They're supposed to be 12 volts, so that means we got a really big problem. I think I've got the battery bank wired correctly. Tell me in the comments if you think I've done something wrong. But I'm going to be taking all of that apart and seeing if I need to add any fluid, water to them. I really think they're supposed to be level, and I've got there's almost an inch of drop from the high point to the low point on each of these batteries. So they are not really level. I used to have wires for the water system hooked right here in the same spot on the other side over where my finger is. I'll try to get the phone there. Right here. This wire, which is one of the charge wires, came off when I disconnected that because I needed the water system to still work. So we've been running without this power for a day, but we're living somewhere else because of air conditioning. So I'm going to take these apart and test them, add some water, and see what we can get. See if we can get the batteries working again. I really think I want them leveled though when I come back and am done. Oh, here's one more piece of our puzzle. This is a 1000 watt Xantrex Pro Watt inverter. It turns the 12 volts of DC into 120 volts of AC. So that's the power we actually have for our house. I want to tell you one more thing about this. I'm likely to have a 2-part series or more. So, it'll probably say part 1 if that's true in the title, and there should be one to click on at the end when I get the new one up. Okay, I've got one battery up out of the crawl space already. This floor down here was a nice hardwood floor, and it started buckling. There's still a few spots that are high, like right here. You can see that spot is higher than the rest, but it was almost 3 inches high in some spots. And so I'm likely to, or somebody told me it was because these batteries didn't have enough water added to them, which then a couple days after he said that, they just totally stopped working. So I'm going to start by adding water. I really don't want to spend $800 to buy a new set of batteries. They're only 2.5 years old. So anyway, it's quite hard work to get them out of the crawl space, but I'm going to try to get the rest out and then start testing them with the voltage meter and stuff. Okay, well here the batteries are out. I'm going to actually number them 1 through 4 and clean them off and record the voltage. I got a wet paper towel here. I don't know if that'll be clean enough. It's looking cleaner. I don't think that's going to be an interesting part of the video, and I don't think I can record the voltage while I'm filming. So I'm going to come back here in a couple seconds for you after I've cleaned them all off and check the voltage. This is the little tool I'm using to check voltage. It reads voltage very well. A very cheap Harbor Freight version, but it does what I need it to do. I'm going to actually do 2 rounds of cleaning, but I've got the first round cleaned. But I want to show you something. This battery, battery number 4, had a lot of corrosion around the, that's a negative charge, or place where it, also between 2 and 3, when I disconnected them, they were much looser, the bolt holding them together, than I wanted them to be. So I don't know if that affects this. I'm hoping that just by leveling them, I'll get a better voltage than the 1.9 volts that I had yesterday on the whole system. As I clean this, I just noticed that this battery is turned the opposite way, and so that's actually a positive joint that was dirty. I've got to turn that battery around, and then I'm going to start marking these and checking the voltage. So I got this measured, and the initial voltage after pulling them out of the crawl space is 8.2 on number 1, 7.75 on 2, 7.8, and 8.4. So that's much better than a 1.9 voltage. We're going to check the water next. I got distilled water. Definitely recommend that as opposed to any other source of water for filling up these. I believe these containers are where you take off or the lids, and then we'll check the water level in there. I got one off and it's dirty there, so I'm going to try to clean that. And it actually looks like there's enough water in there. It does not have a fill level on this, so maybe it's just a low voltage on the battery. So I added water to each of them, about 9 cc's to each cell. That seemed like what I thought might be correct. I do not know the exact amount I should be adding, but some of them went up and some went down. So we can see like they were all within 1/10 of a volt. So it might just be the measuring equipment. I don't have that super precise of a measuring tool. Obviously, I've got the cheapest one you can get in our region. Okay, I've got 2 battery charges. We're going to start trying to charge these up. Got to run the generator, so I don't know what the audio quality is going to be for the rest of the video, but I'll be charging them up and I'll show you the voltage at the end. There's the generator we're going to be using. It's a gas generator, also from Harbor Freight, and we'll be washing laundry at the same time. It's a 6500 watt, so it should be just totally fine with all of that. Alright, now I'm charging 2 of the batteries. I started with 4 and 3 because I don't know why, but they both came out lower than the charge was set at by my machine. So, but they're charging, and we'll let them charge for probably half an hour and then see where they're at. So I just started charging the other 2 batteries. We probably did 20 minutes on the first 2, which was 3 and 4, and they were also lower than what it said. While I've been waiting, I cut down some of the branches over at the solar panels. Now you can actually see the solar panels. There's still a few branches that are shading it a tiny bit, but it's nothing like it was. After the battery charging, I tested the batteries 3 and 4, which got 20 minutes of charging already. And we got 20.1 and 20.5 volts on them. Not 20, 12.1 and 12.5. And I think that's where we want it to be. The batteries, the solar system should work if it's all connected together, which we may find a problem with that here in a little while, because I'm going to check the solar connections and stuff and make sure they're charging right. But I'm going to level the battery spot first, because that was almost an inch off of level, and I think that's part of our problem today. Alright, I'm going to mainly use 4 tools for leveling this. I've got a small level, that's the one I could find. I've got a small shovel, a medium shovel, and a light. That's a battery operated light. I hope someday DeWalt will sponsor me, and then I'll have a sponsored link somewhere in the description, but If you're watching this in the first few months, I probably don't have that yet. Okay, we're back here where the batteries were, and I'm going to put them back in the same spot, but I'm going to level it. So I'm actually going to level the lower one first. It's on this, like, not very clean soil. So I'm going to dig it down about 1 inch and then try to get it level. And then I'll try to make the other one match it, so it'll probably be down about 2 inches into the ground. So I did the first one with just a little shovel. Probably got a lot more digging to do on the upper one, so I'll do that with the big shovel. I came to a root right here. Gonna try to cut that with it. I think I'll have to get my clippers that I used to cut the weeds away from the solar panels. I got it close to level. It's only about 1/8 of an inch off. But I'm going to do a little bit more so I can get it fully level. I finally got it basically level, so I'm going to start putting the batteries back. The next thing I'm doing is tightening some of these joints because they seemed like some of them were kind of loose, and every joint needs to be tight for the system to work right. Okay, I just got batteries 2 and 1 down here. I did a different order. I did 3, 4, 2, and 1 because I wonder if they've been wearing differently. So I don't want them to be in the same order. I take the most charge out of this second to the middle one. Here where my finger is. Now it's 4. It used to be 2. Because I have the inverter hooked directly to that. And then I have the charge controllers hooked to 3 right here. So, yeah. So I'm going to wire this back up and see if it works. Alright, so I've got it mostly hooked up now, and sorry that was probably blurry for a little bit. And I've got a daughter up here. I'm going to tell her, hey, I'm making a video, so you don't need to call down here. Alright, so I got it all hooked up. It sounds like the charge controller is working now. Okay, our charge controller says that to it we got 42.6 volts coming in off the roof panels and 17 kW at the moment. It's going out at 13.2. So we're charging the batteries with 12.7 amps. That's about the best I've seen my this charge controller doing right now. It is supposed to be 1,000 watts, but we're only producing 17% of that, but that's an improvement over the last time I checked. It is bright and sunny today, so that might be part of it. I haven't got the other charge controller hooked up or my water pump. That's hooked up to a different battery for right now, this Honda battery. And I'll try to get that done in a while, but my back is so sore after being in this crawl space. Like I said, it's only 2.5 feet of clearance here, and so I've been scrunched up for the whole video production almost. So thank you for watching, and we'll try to have another interesting video on the end screen soon.